what if we could do a little bit more with Diablo 4 when it comes to Season 2, but more likely probably when it gets to be Season 4 or 5? I want to see some kind of craziness, some power, some fun, some things that would really keep us invested in the game. So I've got some notes here on some things that I would like. I've come up with 2 different things, or 3 different things, really. Number one would be, creating maybe like primal weapons, or just like Diablo 3, but different. You know what I mean? Like cursed weapons or primal drops, uniques, whatever you want to call it. There's those. That's one. Number 2 is gems, some kind of gems, chaotic gems, primal gems, crazy gems, whatever you want to give the name, and also events. And I think if we can create a new tier of crazy amount of weapons, and we can create a crazy fun gem affixes that can be socketed onto your gear, and if we can create some events in the game itself. And I'm going to go over all those things and what they are. But let's just give an example of, say, it was a season, and primal gems or chaos gems dropped. And when the gem drops, the gem only has 1 or 2 or 3 bonuses on it. So basically, this is something that I would want to implement into the game, potentially permanently, so that they're always going on, so that you could bring in primal weapons, and you could bring in chaos or primal gems at the same time during a season. And so on the chaotic gem, or on the, what we'll call it, chaotic gems. We'll just call it that, right? You get a chaotic gem. And in the chaotic gem, there's some basic stats, right? Like 5% damage, 2% armor, little bonus stats like that, little stats. But on every chaotic gem are 1, 2, or 3. And I mean, let's go crazy. 1, 2, or 3. Maybe there's only 1, but 1, 2, or 3, like fun or special affixes or things that can happen. For instance, say there was only possibility for one of those things. Say one of them could be all shrines spawn a goblin party when activated. That's fun. That's cool. 5% chance for goblins to spawn a mob attack. And let's say a mob attack or a demon attack or whatever you want to call it is an event where for 60 seconds just nonstop mobs keep coming at you. You know what I mean? In the current level that you're at. And they're minions, right? They're not crazy bosses or crazy things like that, but like for 60 seconds, every second, 10 more minions is spawned. And they just keep coming at you like a wave for 60 seconds. But there's only a 5% chance of that happening. So I think it'd be cool if one of these dropped and you got all shrines spawned a goblin and 5% chance for goblins to spawn a mob attack. Now, that'd probably glitch out if there were so many goblins. But you know what I'm saying? Like things like this. And they all roll randomly on these chaotic gems. And in the chaotic gems have a random duration roll as well. So these are gems that only last a certain amount of time. Now, this mechanic is actually already in the game, and it's a mechanic that I wanted in Diablo 3, but it's already in the game under potions, where your potions last 20 minutes or something like that. So these chaotic gems would roll anywhere from 30 minutes. We'll say it starts at 30 minutes. 30 minutes to 3 hours. So there's a chance for the chaotic gem to roll 30 minutes to 3 hours. And obviously you're only going to be able to equip 2, 4, maybe you can only equip it into jewelry or weapons or something like that. But either way, you can essentially equip about, we'll say 3 to 6 of these, right? So it can get really crazy, right? Another one, and I'm not saying all these would be on one gem. That would be nuts. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you could find 3 to 4 to 5 gems, put them on, and all these things could be active. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe it's a little, it's probably a little overpowered and ridiculous, but the basic idea. If we dialed back my idea a little bit, While riding on your horse, running into an enemy kills them instantly. How fun would that be? Running through the barriers and then running over people. And then if the gem was an hour-long gem, just wanting to run around the map with your horse running over people, like that'd be crazy. Or maybe it only works on the open map, right? As long as you're not in a cellar, not in a dungeon, whatever, your horse, you can run into people. You can run into all minions and enemies and events and whatever, and it would just be crazy. I mean, it'd be chaos. That's why it's a chaotic gem. Nightmare dungeon bosses have a 30% chance of spawning a hell rift. You could also do nightmare dungeon bosses have a 30% chance of showering you with treasure. And like from the skies, like 5 treasure chests fall down. Boom, 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 boom. Or, you go into a hell rift. And we create hell rifts. And in hell rifts, in a hell rift, it's like a Diablo 3 rift. You know what I mean? But they only spawn. And hell rifts are things that could happen in different ways all the time. That's the thing. I've got these ideas for events like hell rifts, the ritual. I came up with one called the ritual, which is so the ritual is 30 enemies spawn. Each enemy will take you on one-on-one. So an enemy will spawn, you'll face it. However, the enemy will have between a level 5 or level 1 to level 100 power. But we'll make it a little bit higher. We'll make it to go as high as, we'll say, Uber Lilith, right? So literally Uber Lilith could spawn. Regular Lilith could spawn. Any of the bosses could spawn. Now, if it's too hard to do the bosses, I understand that. So scratch that. That's fine. Maybe it's just minions or just one set of minions. But the power of the minions can go from level 1 all the way past level 100. So you will take on one enemy, and each one is randomly generated its level. So immediately the ritual begins one-on-one. The first enemy you face is a level 44. You kill it because you're a level 70. The next enemy that spawns, level 5. You kill it. Easy. Boom. Next enemy spawns, it's a level 7. Boom. You kill it. The next enemy spawns, it's a level 80. And it puts up a hell of a fight, but somehow you survive. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, think of how fun that would be. You could start with a level 100 and get sniped right away. Or you could start with a whole bunch of low levels, make the level 15, and then suddenly spawns Uber Lilith-powered minion, and you're dead. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever. Something along these lines. I'm not trying to nitpick away and really figure these things out right now. I'm just throwing these ideas out there. These are the things that I would like to see in Diablo 4. Like, in a season coming up. If not soon, or maybe forever. Like, I don't know. But definitely a season. Because the idea that these gems would, and I know we're kind of doing gems this season, the first season, season 1, right? But like, these don't have to be gems either, guys. These don't have to be gems. They could be items, but there could be a aspect on the bottom or a legendary power or whatever you want to call it on the bottom. That's one of these, on top of finding a primal weapon, a primal item. You know what I mean? And they would be temporary. So the duration would only be 40 minutes. Or the other option is that the item drops, the primal item drops, and the chaotic enchantment on it lasts for 40 minutes or an hour. But after that point in time, it disappears, and you actually can never get it back again. And that item is now an item you like, and it's on you. But if you find another item that might not be as good, it will now have that same situation. So will you switch it out just to get that fun power and then switch back later and you'd be switching your gear all the time, kind of going crazy. So I'm just brainstorming and throwing ideas out there. These are the things that I want to see. I like this one too. When you salvage this gem, Greed and his goblins spawn in a random cellar. You have 30 minutes to find them. Happy hunting. So if you find this chaotic gem, you're like, okay, I'm going to use this gem since the duration is 40 minutes. I'm going to use this gem for like 35 minutes. And then I'm going to go salvage it so I can spawn that event. And now you're going around the map searching the cellars trying to find this crazy event that's going to happen. And maybe when you kill Greed and a couple of his goblins that are in that cellar and you find them, when they die, like a massive chest of crazy drops. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying it should all be goblins and all be shrines and things like that. I want to have goblins, shrines, the ritual event that I talked about, other events, and just all this stuff. And I think all of these things would give you so much more to do in the game and so much fun to be had. And so on top of these chaotic gems that I would like to be in the game that are temporary and have a duration, I would then introduce new uniques or maybe primals, and I would want to make a lot of them. So I would want to make them more rare than current ancestral uniques, but obviously way more attainable than the uber rare 8-6 uniques that are out there that we'll never find, right? So there's a middle ground there. There's somewhere in between. And I would make them slightly rarer than the primals in Diablo 3. So I would make them more rare than the primals in Diablo 3. Only a little bit, but a little bit rarer than those. And I would hope that we would make probably like 50 to 100 of them. 50 to 100 new items that are primals, and they are rarer than Diablo 3 primals, but not that much rarer. That would really open up the world to, like, I think addiction, fun, and chaos. Obviously, I've got way more ideas for these things that could be in the chaotic gem, and obviously weapon things that I've come up with that I think are crazy. I think a lot of you guys have great ideas, and I just think this would add a lot to Diablo 4. But, I'm trying to keep it in the realm of Diablo 4, not in the realm of Diablo 3, although this is something Diablo 3 could do too, but it's more suited for what we got going on in Diablo 4 now, I guess, right? So, and you could do things like, speed increase 20%, things like that, damage. There's a lot of things you could do. It would take a while to engineer all this stuff, I feel like, but I've got so many more ideas. I don't want to go into all of them right now. And like Hell Tides now drop double embers. Hell Tides drop double everything. So everything in Hell Tides would be doubled. So if you picked up those 10 embers, you've actually got 20. What are they called? Are they shards? Shards of hatred or something? Whatever they are, it's like the most important thing in Hell Tides. I can't think of the name of it right now. But those when they drop, you get double. They drop double for you when you have this chaotic gem active. And I know that brings up the question, well, what if the chaotic gem's only an hour and the Hell Tide just ended? Well, then it's useless, right? Okay, so yeah, you'd have that problem. But do you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that there's a lot of things you could do, and it wouldn't get boring because if you created enough options and variety of them, right, in the game, you would, and maybe this is something where one or two of these ideas that I've come up with here on this sheet, only one or two of them are introduced every season. And every season, regardless of what the seasonal theme is, one new chaotic gem is introduced. So when you get into like season 5, 6, 7, 8, now there's like 6, 7, 8 different variations of the chaotic gem that can come out. So it's something you can gradually update every season that would take, a week or a couple of days to figure out. instead of trying to get all of these in, which could take months to implement all of these ideas and make them work. But gradually over time, it would increase the fun of the game slowly over time. Like, ooh, this seasonal theme, I can't wait to see what the seasonal theme is. Also, I wonder what the new chaotic gem affix is going to be. We've got this, we've got all shrines spawn goblin party. We've got 5% chance for goblin to spawn a mob attack. We've got the ritual event. That's cool. I wonder what's coming this month, this season. Do you know what I'm saying? And when you start to stack these things up, it becomes, I think, really addictive, really fun. And I just think if you're not a fan of that, I don't know, bro. I think this would suck in so many of the casuals, too. I think the casuals would be really into this type of thing. And I think people who don't have a ton of time to play the game, who really do like the game, but they don't have a ton of time to play the game, would really love this, right? Like, I can probably only play for 2 hours one night, right? I can only play for an hour. I can only play for 2 hours, 3 hours. But guess what? I know in those 2 or 3 hours, I'm probably going to find at least one chaotic gem, and it's going to have something kind of fun on it. So if I don't want to keep running Nightmare whatever, and I don't know what to do, and I don't want to run the same dungeons over and over again and keep grinding things and whatever, and fuck it, I'm just going to go do something else with my time. Well, no, I do want to do that. And on top of that, what if Nightmare Dungeon bosses have a 30% chance of spawning a Hell Rift? And I get that chaotic gem. Well, guess what? For the next couple hours, I'm farming Nightmare Rifts. And it's really fun. Because if I play 4 of them, there's probably a good chance that at least one of them is going to spawn the Hell Rift. And I'm going to have a blast. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things that I think would really hook on people. I don't think the elite players of Diablo would love it that much. I think they'll just think like, okay, cool, I guess, but like they're more into the in-depth builds and they're into the stats and the builds and things like that. This is something that would hook way more people, I think. But the classic Diablo players would be like, okay, interesting. Your horse, you can run through people. But I think these are all things that would be fun. What do you guys think? And if you guys have a good idea for what could be in a fun affix or chaotic gem event or whatever these things are, what is one that you guys would like to see? And do you have ideas about this as well? And what do you think of this idea? And I think on top of this, then you could add like new primal weapons. So you're really enhancing the goblins and using them for fun events and fun things and loot. You're enhancing Nightmare Dungeons. You're creating Hell Rifts. You're creating the ritual that I mentioned, and all these different things. And you're bringing in new primals at some point. And if you did all of this throughout the next 3 to 5 seasons, by season 5 or 6, man, hopefully sooner than that, to be honest, though, by season 3. But, well, I'll take 5 or 6. This game could really start spiking into something that is fairly addictive and really, really fun. Even funner than it may be right now for many people. So bring on 100 new primal items that are pretty rare to find but not impossible, like the Uber Uniques. Add more Uber Uniques. I'm fine with that. Bring on the chaotic gems, which enhance goblins, pylons, and events and craziness. And that's it. I'm out of here. What do you guys think? Am I an insane person? Am I a stupid person? Am I like not the target market for Diablo? After you heard this, like, are you like, this just isn't Diablo, Joe? Dan, or whatever I am. But I do think that these are things that would be cool in the game. Anyway, it's wicked late. That's why I keep repeating myself. Good night!